Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lub Goes Live. My name is Mark Lubkowitz. I'm a biology professor at St. Michael's College in Burlington, Vermont, and I'm making videos on sciencey stuff in COVID-19 for my molecular genetics students and for anyone else who might be interested. Today, we're going to talk about comorbidities, but before we get into that, I actually want to give two shout outs. The first one goes to a friend of mine by the name of Adam Morgan, actually Dr. Adam Morgan, who went to college with me way back when. And Adam watched the last video on mutation rates in coronaviruses and pointed out that I misspoke, and so I want to correct myself. So it turns out that I referred to the length of the genome in base pairs. Positive RNA viruses are single-stranded, so the units are nucleotides, not base pairs. Being a professor, it is very important to me that I speak accurately, so thanks for catching that, Adam, and pointing it out. The second shout out that I want to give goes to the students at St. Michael's College who are staying behind to help with fire and rescue. For those of you who don't know, the town of Colchester, one of the ambulance services that they rely upon is run by our students, student volunteers who are trained to be EMT, paramedics, drive the ambulance and such. And they are literally on the front line. They're living on an empty campus. They are mainly isolated from each other. And when they go out on call, they have high patient interaction with COVID-19 individuals. I imagine that it is at times lonely on campus. I imagine it can be both exciting and terrifying. I want all of the students to know that I've not forgotten about you. I think about you every day. I wish for your safety, and please follow the protocols and know that we thank you for your service, and that's it. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Comorbidities. So comorbidities just refers to the prevalence of 2 or more chronic conditions in a patient at one time. So in this case, we're going to be looking at COVID-19 plus something else. And the question is, what are those other things that increase the risk of an individual either having a severe reaction or having increased mortality, i.e. dying from COVID-19? So this sort of data, believe it or not, can be sort of difficult to collect very simply because you can imagine if you're in a hospital and you're seeing patients and you're seeing lots and lots of patients, collecting data may not be the top priority at the time, or maybe you only have 99 people coming in at one moment, and so you can only collect data on the subset that you have. So when you look at all the information out there, you run across case studies that say, in this ED, this emergency department, 99 patients came in with this, and here's what we observed. The problem with that is that sort of sample size is really small. But fortunately, the WHO, working with China's CDC, has made a compilation through, I think it was about February 11th was the end date, of comorbidities in about 25,000, give or take some, individuals that had COVID-19. And this is a table from their publication. I just want to point out the highlights. And really, there's just a couple things you want to focus on here. First one is, let me get my case fatality rate. Okay, so the case fatality rate for the entire population is 2.3. Notice that they're looking at 44,000 individuals, but they didn't know the medical records for 23,000. So in actuality, the number is a little bit smaller than that. And then down here where it says none, these are individuals that have no comorbidity, and the mortality rate is a little under 1%, so it's 0.9%. So the question then becomes, if you have one comorbidity, how much does that increase your risk of mortality? And so if you look here at cardiovascular disease, let me switch to the arrow. So if you look at cardiovascular disease, which is right here, and then you look at the fatality rate, it's 10.5%, which is clearly much higher than 0.9%. Similarly, hypertension, that is high blood pressure, has a mortality rate of 6%, diabetes is 7.3%, and then your chronic respiratory diseases, which I looked up, they define that as COPD, asthma, allergies that lead to lung inflammation, which was interesting and sort of scary, as well as lung cancer. And then they also had cancer any type. So the sum here, and keep in mind that these numbers are not hard and fast. They're going to be changing around as more data is collected. But the take-home message here is that, yes, there is a risk from certain chronic ailments, specifically high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, any type of cancer, as well as certain lung ailments like COPD, asthma, and allergies that lead to inflammation of the lungs. Okay, So what does that mean for us? Well, that means that all of us should be particularly careful. That never has changed. But if you're an individual that has a comorbidity, you should be particularly aware of that and also be cautious. Okay, that's all I have to say today. On Friday, I'll go over what was published in Science and Nature this week. My name is Mark Lubkowitz. I am, as always, trying to rise from the ashes like the phoenix, and trying to let crisis bring out the best in me, and I'm hoping you let crisis bring out the best in you. If you want to learn more about what we do at St. Michael's College, specifically in the biology department, you can look us up online. And my kids always want me to say, follow me on Instagram at Prof Lub. Although for those of you who know me, you know I just got my first smartphone and I have yet to post anything on Instagram, but maybe I'll get around to that today. All right, I'll see you Friday, if not before.